Well, hello. Ambrose Blofield here from the Sales Mastery Company. It is my privilege today to talk about managing different personalities. Now, obviously at the Sales Mastery Company, we coach thousands of businesses around the world, particularly in B2B selling. And therefore, I'm going to slant today's topic all about sales managers. But obviously, a lot of our customers are small to medium family businesses around the world. So often the sales manager / sales director could well be the business owner, possibly even the marketing manager as well. And they might even be from within the sales team, whereby they have key account management chores to do, as well as leading the team as well. So regardless of your business experience or background, I want to dive straight into today's topic, which is all about managing different personalities, accepting differences, and making sure you can bring the most out of your team. Now, the document you've hopefully accessed already, whether you're watching this in recorded form, whether you've downloaded this in advance to our social media channels, whatever it happens to be, the document I'm referencing right now has got these images of these four people sitting in front of you on comfortable chairs or semi-comfortable chairs, which says managing different personalities. The second page is just a brief welcome message from myself, giving you an understanding about who we are as a business and the fact that I've spent over 18 years coaching over 15,000 businesses in over 20 countries around the world, and I absolutely love it. I only want to help ethical family companies in particular, or ethical businesses in particular. I'm sorry, I will not be helping a gambling company, a tobacco company, or other companies along those lines, with all respect to you. So, first thing we need to understand is around, why is it we have these different personalities and what are they? Well, firstly, they're not actual personalities. When we talk about this in the world of sales or management, they're actually behavioral styles or behavioral profiles. Somebody's profile or style indicates how is someone likely to be motivated, how is someone likely going to want to be communicated to, how is someone more likely to communicate, and when put under pressure, how is someone likely to behave. Hence, it's a behavioral style or behavioral profile. Now, the world-class tool that we've been using at Sales Mastery Company for nearly 2 decades is the extended disc tool that comes out of Finland. And we're one of the accredited resellers in Australasia in the world for that side of tool. Now, there are dozens of different tools. I've been certified in a number of other different profiling tools. And I find that the extended disc or disc profiling is particularly good on two folds. Number one, it is a simple enough system that most team members can get a clear understanding about themselves and, more importantly, their colleagues. And hence today, if you're a sales manager, it gives you a simple insight into the behavioral style or profile of your colleagues or subordinates. And number two, it's complex enough to understand in depth what somebody is wired like, because actually extended disc goes down to the depth of 160 different profiles. I get a lot of people recently in the last few months who have been saying to me, hey, what about the 16 profiles or the 16 personalities tool? Do you like it? Yeah, I do like it, provided it's a paid one, which gives me an understanding difference of the difference between your conscious profile, which is how you think you should be in a work environment, versus your natural or unconscious profile, which effectively is the real you. Here's one thing to keep in mind. 30% of humans have a different conscious profile, how they think it should be, and a natural style or unconscious profile. 30% of times they're not the same profile. So if you do a free test online or your team does it, the chances are 30% of the time or up to 30% of the time, it will be wrong. So you'll wrongly manage and motivate and hold that person accountable or even coach them the wrong way because you're reading the wrong profile. You're reading the perceived need to adjust and not the natural or unconscious. It's really important to understand the difference. Likewise, extended disc has almost a couple of trapdoor questions which pick up on the fact that if someone's trying to fudge the system, it rejects them and makes them take the survey again. So that's why we do this. Next up, can people's profiles or personalities change? Yes, they can. Pretty much all the research into behavioral profiling suggests that roughly 60% of your personality or behavioral style was hardwired there at birth. So if I were to have met you at kindergarten, I could understand whether you're an extrovert or an introvert. I could very easily understand whether you're focused on things or focused on people, those sorts of things. I could observe at kindergarten, and 60% of the time, how you are today as a manager or how your sales teams are as a subordinate to you will pretty much match up to that. But 40% of us evolve steadily over time with education, with confidence. If we work in a particular sector, if we're the firstborn child or the lastborn child, where we grow up, whether we're male or female or whatever our gender appears to be. The reality here is we all profile ourselves differently over time. You get married, you move to the other side of the world. Yes, your profile will probably change. You get promoted to a leadership role. Yes, your profile will change. However, you've got to coach and manage your team. You've got to motivate your team right now based on how they are right now, not how they were in kindergarten, not how they become 5 years from now, right now. You want a high-performing team in sales? Meet them as the individuals they are. Remember, 160 different profiles. Meet them where they are right now. So let's understand the teams better. Let's analyze your team better, whether you're using this profile tool or another profile tool. That's the starting point. In fact, Aristotle said, to know thyself is the beginning of all wisdom. I would say that for a manager. To know your team's profile and personality is at the heart of having wisdom about how to lead them. The next wisdom we've got to have an understanding about is, can we please wake up to the fact there are not 2 jobs or functions in sales, there are 6. Now, the 2 most common ones I'll talk about today are, of course, the sales hunter and the sales farmer. But there are 4 other sales jobs most business owners and managers never talk about, never recruit for, never motivate for, or never understand deeply. And that upsets me, because it means, as a result, if you don't get this right, if you don't know the profile of the job and you don't know the profile of the person, how can you coach and manage a team to consistent high performance? I'm not saying they can't perform at a high level. I'm just saying consistent high performance. Now, the New Zealand All Blacks have had one of the toughest seasons in 2022 of their history, their 100-plus year history. But their win ratio over 100 years is 80%. So even with a bad year, it doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad brand or a bad team. Over a long period of time, they've had consistency of winning 80% of the games they perform, generally drawing 1 out of 10 and generally losing 1 out of 10. And that's not a bad performance. Now, they're one of the most successful teams in history at the international sporting level. But again, it's the consistency of performance which is what I'm most attracted to. Not that they can win a particular game well. With other lesser teams say, oh, didn't they perform well 4 years ago? It's one game, 80 minutes, maybe 85 minutes with injury time. It doesn't matter, one game, one performance. Same for your team. It's not about them landing one big project or having one big week or having one big month. You need peak performance long term. So understand, there are 6 jobs. There's a sales hunter. There's a sales networker. Someone on a trade show stand is a sales networker function. Somebody running training sessions, training architects or construction companies, running sessions for multiple people. That's a networker function. Maybe you have it in your team. Maybe you don't have that role to be done. After the sales farmer, there's a sales supporter. That traditionally 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, was referred to as customer service, but within the sales function. That's a sales supporter role. It exists these days in most sectors. Then we come to the most common profile of the customers we coach and train around the world, a combination with the steady and compliance profile or personality. The most common role that we coach people in is the technical selling side of things, specialist sales, where they want to focus on long-term relationships and be accurate around their serving of that, compliant around that, and not make up stuff. That's the most common profile of people we profile around the world, not the bold, extravagant, dominant, or influence profiles. It's the opposite of that. It's also the most common job done in the world. As I mentioned, we've trained over 15,000 businesses. Most of them sell something semi-technical in some way. So actually, that's the most common profile we coach. Why? Because that's the jobs they do. Finally, there's a sales realist. The 2 most common examples of a sales realist function is either selling software as a service. Again, don't have to think about the people in that. Hence, it's a CD profile job. Or likewise, somebody who focuses on a $3 million or £3 million or €3 million piece of unique, bespoke mining equipment that's only ever made once every 10 years. And that would be long-term focused as well. So those are the 6 sales functions. And your job is to understand that A, there's a difference between people's conscious profile as well as their unconscious profile. And again, based on their natural tendencies and their natural energies, you could understand which of those 6 roles would each of my team member better suit. Now, I just had a conversation coaching a team in Canberra, Australia, and asking the question, can you teach an old dog new tricks? Yes, you can. It just takes longer. At the same time, the question applies to today's session, which is, can I make somebody whose profile is not natural do that job? And as I've got in front of you now, a priceless page that comes from our Sales Manager Accelerator program, where we're coaching and developing B2B sales managers around the world. This is priceless to understand. Every person and personality can do every function in sales, but those that struggle with the energy, they don't get excitement from it, are likely to not be self-led. They're likely not to enjoy it as much, which means They A, won't volunteer to do it as much unless they're incredibly selfless for the greater good. B, means you're probably going to have to coach and train them a bit more. But C, you're going to have to lead them more and hold them more accountable to do a job if it is not natural to them. So it might be a learned skill. This has got nothing to do with skills and what people can and can't do. Everybody can be trained to do any role pretty much. But the fact remains is you're going to have to hold someone more accountable if it's not suitable to them. So what you've got on here is matching 2 of the 6 sales functions, the hunter role as well as the farmer role. As you can imagine, the farmer role is a combination of the S with the I profile, the steady versus the influence profile. They love people. So going around on call cycles, seeing them a supermarket chains, for example, might be something that excites them. Now, they need to be coached to do it better, of course, because we're trying to perform at the highest possible level long term. Certainly, somebody who's more of a DC profile would find that fundamentally boring and repetitive. Again, they can do it, as it says on the slides, but what they should look to do, just like somebody who doesn't necessarily have a DI profile, dominant and influence profile, they can hunt. But they're going to want to be trained. They're going to want to role play. They're going to want to practice. They're going to want to be left alone to try. And likewise, they're going to want you to coach them and support them and build up their confidence over time. Often I find I can coach and train people with a CS profile or an SC profile to be better hunters than DIs who love it and live in that. Why? Because they're more disciplined people. So once you teach them methodology, get them to take ownership for their script, they're probably just like a monotonous person, with a, say, for example, the TikToker, the metronome that you got when learning the piano. They just go relentlessly to do it. And of course, numbers don't lie. You make more calls with the right skills, the right leadership, the right motivation, and you have the right CRM to store the information you learn. Eventually, like the hare and the tortoise, the hare starts quickly. That's the DI. The tortoise is the SC profile. They'll probably win the race long term. Maybe not short term, maybe not with so much enjoyment, but they'll probably win the race long term. So on that page, you've got a summary of what extra tips you need based on the profile of your team in order to succeed. So in summary today, I know you're busy. We wanted to give you a short, sharp introduction to this to understand it. As I mentioned, we apply this into our sales mastery program. We apply this into our sales manager accelerator, and we definitely apply this into our sales academy, which is our fastest growing area of our business. You've got to understand the 6 functions of sales and know which ones your team has to perform. And then to understand that, you need to have the wisdom to understand accurately the profiles of your team. Now, to add value to you today, we actually give you a discounted rate on getting profiles done. An added bonus, just as a tip, is if you've got a team member in sales doing sales and maybe marketing, or sales and maybe customer service, or sales and maybe admin, or sales and even operations, we actually allow you to profile any member of your team if you pay to profile them with extended disc. Profile them against 2 different jobs. There are 9 different jobs, such as yourself might be a sales manager and a salesperson. So those are 2 jobs. We allowed it to search from a drop down, so you don't have to pay for 2 profiles. You can profile against 2 different reports. Likewise, if you're wanting extra help to implement this, the Academy is all about implementation. Yes, we work one-on-one with businesses, but a lot of people like to learn in small groups as well. So hence our Academy is a very affordable profile. But if you just want to grow your team, you want to be a better manager, you want better, more consistent results, or ultimately you want to perform at the highest possible level for your business, then at the back of that document, there's a free place for you to click on a 15-minute scale-up call with myself or a member of our team so we can better understand where is your team now, what are you trying to get to, and what are the key roadblocks. Let us help you get through wherever you are right now as a business, as a leader, and certainly as a sales team. We've got years of experience into 20 different countries. I'm sure we can help add value to you. So send us an email, click in to register for a quick scale-up call with a team member, or likewise, simply use our tool. It's world-class, and you can match this against each individual job, and you can pick 2 jobs per person if needed. Now, I've been Ambrose Blofield. We're, of course, the Sales Mastery Company, and as always, we're here to support you as required. Take care and be sure to take action.